9:18. Let's head into the Zoom room now where we're going to talk a little bit about repatriation flights and what's been happening in the FSM, Bree. Is there basically no flights going in unless it's cargo or, deceased people. And so what that has led to is just a bunch of folks who are stranded. I mean, basically that's it. And we have three of them on the line now. Joining us from Oahu is Shanti Asher. She was recently on the One Micronesia podcast. She looks familiar to you guys. And then also in Oahu too, Philios Uruman. Are you guys like in the same house, different room, or unmute?
We would have been wearing masks, so we are not.
Okay, gotcha. And then in beautiful downtown Mangilau, we have Yulene Perman. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Of course. And so we'll just start right there. Like I said, a lot of people are stranded, and I know that you guys know a lot of people who are currently stranded.
Were you guys part of the group that was eligible to be repatriated back in December of last year back to the FSM? Because I remember at that time, it was like Operation Christmas Drop, and then that was canceled, and then there was supposed to be that repatriation flight, and that was canceled as well. Were any of you part of that?
No, I was not part of it.
So how long have you guys been stranded at your locations? Since the start of the pandemic?
Yulene, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Yulene, tell us your story. Let's just start there.
I have been here. Yes. Okay. Thank you. I left Bombay in May of last year. I came for two reasons. My eldest was due to have her baby and also graduate from UOG in June. In Bombay, delivering of a baby is considered like a life or death situation. So it's really important. So my husband and I, it was a decision that we made for me to come, knowing, the pandemic is alive and well, but we decided it was important. So I came. At the time, our travel ban restriction was, I believe it was going to end July of, last year. And the president extends it. He's been extending it like every 2 months. And we understand, as citizens, because we care. I care about my children back home, my family, and everyone. We don't want this pandemic to get there. So we've been very patient. We've been very understanding. But I believe that time has come, to bring us home. The vaccine is readily available for everyone in the FSM from 18 and above. It's just that they are very hesitant. They're very skeptical about taking the vaccine. So, unfortunately, to this day, actually today is supposed to be the last day of the current travel restriction. But the president has announced that he is looking to extend it yet again for another 2 months till the end of May.
Shanti?
So I am not stranded, but my parents were. And one thing I wanted to just share is that the pandemic really exacerbated insurmountable challenges to many people. And especially the ones that have traveled out, they did not travel out because they went on vacation. During a pandemic, they traveled out because of an emergency. Many people traveled because they lost someone and they had to be there. Some got referred because of serious health conditions, and one Yulene alluded to. And another one is in celebration of something like maybe a graduation. Now, these are people that already have sacrificed so much financially, most of them unplanned. And then they were promised they will return in May. My parents were excited. They came because we lost a baby in our family to stillbirth. And 3 days before they are to depart, they're packed and ready. They were called by United that they will not be leaving because of an extension. The emergency declaration was modified, amended about 8 times. Started with the travel ban for disembarkation. No passengers. It started in May, amended in July, August, November, and now just recently. So the thing is that I'm here not because we don't understand that our people are trying their best in country. We are here because many of these people that have left home, they were here unplanned, financially living in, none of them have been employed. So they do not have, you all know that most Micronesian families, we don't really have savings account. So these people, while they are struggling financially, they understood and they waited and they were patient. And in all of these times, there is no plans shared with them as to you will be coming in soon. There were all these extensions, and 3 days before they're notified. And so it's just that there is enough for them to fear with the pandemic, and now they do not know what, with so much uncertainties. And it's just grateful to many family units. We grew up in family units that just took in people and took care of them, even without any financial contribution. So that's really the story from, it's been a year. And I think a lot of people have stopped being optimistic. They're just praying that as leaders are coming together, they remember them because they have made so much sacrifices in staying here so that others are protected.
Shanti, do you know how many people are I guess stranded over there in Oahu, other than your family?
I can't say to a certain extent, but I know that that data is available with the government because they issued 2 different stranded financial support across the year. They only issued 2 stranded checks, 1,000 for a primary applicant and 500 for an additional one, but no counting of any other family members in that unit.
Filios,
So I don't have an answer.
Filios, can you share your story with us?
Yes, I'm very much similar to Shanti. I'm not a stranded citizen. I'm actually a resident in Oahu, and I work with a lot of our Pacific Islanders, our Micronesians in Hawaii, as a social service provider to our people. And one of the things that keeps it keeps arising to us is the stranded citizen in Hawaii. They are the one group that lack the resources here. Living in Hawaii is really, really expensive, and 1 or 2 checks for our citizens that lives here is not enough. It doesn't pay the rent, and a gallon of milk here is $5. they have no other income beside the check they receive. So living here as a stranded citizen is is a challenge to them. I know we have family members, but also um, we have many houses or landlord who are very strict with their rules here in Hawaii. I know several families who are still waiting to go back home, and they've been moving their deceased from mortuary to another, waiting for the border to open up, so that they can bring their loved one home to rest. And they wanted to do it the traditional way so that our loved one could finally rest peacefully. Um, I think Paulina just joined us, who is one of our, she lives here on Oahu too, and she works a lot with the stranded citizens.
Shanti,
Hello, President
hi.
Mango.
Hi, Paulina.
Hi.
We don't see you. Where are you at?
Yeah, she needs to turn on her camera.
Can you turn on your camera?
I need to turn on my camera?
Yeah, so we can see our beautiful Micronesian sisters.
Well, I prefer using my mask, so you can
That's
just see
fine.
my photo.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, guys. Let's see. How do I do this?
The new life, we all have to get accommodated
Yeah.
and comfortable.
We should all
with.
have our black belt in Zoom by now. I feel like
Oh my goodness.
I should get stock in the company of how much Zoom we are. Oh, there. Good morning, Paulina.
And
What
what a reveal.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, guys. You guys are funny. Who's on board? Who's here?
Well, we have Shanti Filios and Yulene. Paulina Perman now joins us. Paulina, where are you at, and what's your situation?
I'm in Honolulu, and I want to see everybody. Let's see who's got this Guam photo or profile. Anyway, yes. Sorry, guys. I didn't know I was invited.
Well, we're here now. So,
Okay.
Shanti brought up a good point, and this is something I think maybe people don't really think about. Is you're right. A lot of these people have migrated out of the FSM for, I mean, the people I know, they went for medical, whether it was coming to Guam or going to Hawaii or whatever, right? Because just the facilities, it's such a step up from what we see in the FSM. And so I know a lot of people who came out here for medical, and they're just stuck, right? And they don't have a job, like you said. They don't have a savings account, like you said. So they're staying with family. But you know how that goes, right? I mean, everyone's struggling. And so to add that on top of that, it's just such a difficult, bitter pill to swallow. But is there any like end in sight that you know of? I know they keep extending it. We're seeing that here on Guam with our public health emergency declaration extensions. But what have you guys heard from the government? Is there any conversation with like the embassy or any state officials of the FSM?
May I?
Yes, please.
Okay. So as far as Pohnpei State is concerned, Pohnpei is the capital for the Federated States of Micronesia. And the president of our nation is David Panuelo. And he has, he's instructed each governor of the 4 states, to be prepared, to prepare themselves for repatriation. Out of the 4 states, I do know for a fact, because they have announced it, Pohnpei State is ready. More than ready is what they are saying. They are ready to repatriate us anytime, as soon as possible. They are just waiting for our national government. Ultimately, that would be up to our president. to just say when, really. And I just wanted to add also, there are actually over 900 FSM stranded citizens scattered all over. And, I know this number because I got it from the national government, because we register or we apply for re-entry. And they will go through our applications, is what we were told. And the last thing that came out from the national government, the president's office, is that, he's looking to extend till the end of May. And he says, and this is not concrete, that he will start repatriation in May. Paul, would you like to add?
Well, if any of you have been following the reports from Office of the President, or FSM PIO, to be specific, it doesn't seem like, or the last report I read was the president is not going to consider any repatriation until the herd immunity is accomplished at 70%. And as many of you might know, we're just dragging. I'm not sure what the percentage of that, the vaccination in Pohnpei, last I know was in 15%. It may have gone up, but one of the issues that most, if not all, of the medically referred stranded in Guam is begging national task force or even the president to allow them to do is to, just let them go home because they've been vaccinated. They've been fully vaccinated. They are willing to be quarantined for however long, 3, even a month, if that's what they are requiring them to do. Most of them, they've sacrificed, they're afraid of getting sick or have really bad reactions from the vaccination, but they went ahead and took the vaccination. One of them is my mom, who's a stroke patient. I know, and maybe Yulene can add on to this, but I'm not sure about the rest of the patients who are cancer patients. So if they're sacrificing and willing to do anything in their power to just meet the requirements that the president is asking of all of our citizens, why are they being held hostage, against their will, if I may say that, and their rights to return home, because they've complied. They complied with everything. They've stayed COVID-free this long, over a year now. What else are we asking them to do? What more do we want from them or need them to do? And that's the same story over and over. The last information I got from one of my advocate who lives in Texas, Sunny, Joel, both of her parents are stranded on Guam. The students there are no longer in the hotel. So I'm not, I think they were in one hotel, Santa Fe. And maybe again, Yulene can update us on their situation. I can go on and on, but maybe let's let others to chime in.
Yulene, have you spoken with the FSM Consul General?
I am a part, somewhat, of the MyCare medically referred patients here who have been staying at the Guam Airport Hotel for over a year. Along with their attendants, there are close to 20 or less than, but there are, I do know for a fact, there are 8 UOG students that were where Paulina was saying they were staying at the Santa Fe Hotel. They moved there during the pre-quarantine time where you mentioned, where the one that got canceled, right? So recently, just I believe last week, if I'm not mistaken, they were moved from Santa Fe Hotel, and now they are also living at the Guam Airport Hotel. Like I said, there's 8 of them, and there are, the MyCare, the medical referral patients there, one of them, I did ask them to be a part of this. They were agreeable in the beginning, but reluctant or hesitant, for their own reasons. The Consulate General is in support. She supports, she knows how desperately we all want to go back home. She knows this. She knows we have a right to go back home. She knows how, we're trying our best, especially those people who are, at Airport Hotel. I myself, I am a stranded. I go to the Airport Hotel almost every day. I try to help out as much as I can. There is a patient, Kasmira Nix, who I have a relationship with. I am trying to go back as her attendant. I go and help her with whatever she needs, if it be just to get her water or take her to her doctor's appointment. I'm there to help her, comfort her. She has anxiety. And, I just go to help out. I also have an auntie there. She is a breast cancer patient. I mean, these people are just, if only our government could just feel an ounce of what they're going through, what we're all going through. I can only speak on my behalf. I mean, I have 4 young children back home. I'm fortunate to be here with my daughter. She's 24 years old. She has a family of her own. I'm very grateful that I have the hospitality of her boyfriend and her family. So, I'm not struggling as far as the other stranded people in that aspect, but emotionally, mentally, we are drained. I mean, like Shanti said, we're living on prayer. God is taking me day by day. We just want to go home. I think it's time. Chris, are you a father?
Yes, I am, ma'am.
As a father, can I ask, what's the most important thing to you?
My kids.
Absolutely, right? What father wouldn't say that? Okay. David Panuelo is he's the father of our nation. He's the father of the Federated States of Micronesia. And he should care about all of his children. We understand that his number one priority, it's the people underneath him, right? The people that are living in the FSM. We understood that. We understand that. We've been patient. We've been understanding up until now. I mean, he should extend his love and protection to us. We are also his children. Like I said, the vaccine is readily available. We, the stranded people, I feel abandoned. I feel abandoned by my country. I mean, I ran to get this vaccine as soon as it became available to me. I went and got it. That's how bad I want to go back home to my 4 younger children. I have 2 adult grown children. They are fine, they're good, but I have 4 children who are under the age of 10. I have a son who lives with autism. They need me. I came for a purpose. I've served that purpose. And I just want to go home.
And just like Yolene was mentioning, it's not one person that's going through this. My dad has been away from our grandma for a year, and she needs them. And we're not saying open up because we're gonna bring the pandemic. People are saying open it up because we have respected everything you guys asked for the past year. We have gotten vaccinated. And it's I am crying not because there are so many people that I do not even know how they are surviving day by day, not knowing for a year now. And how many kids have been left alone because their parents came for an emergency. And when we talk about stranded, these are not people that moved to reside. They moved because of an emergency. And so it's just, we are all crying for the people that cannot be here because they can't express themselves, because they cannot access. And so it's really hard. And if you are going to keep extending, then put these people in your consideration and empathize, because they don't have money. And if they're going to sacrifice, then at least give them some CARES funding money to survive while you are trying to figure it out. Or allow the ones that have been vaccinated. They were here for medical, but they took that step for the country to get vaccinated. So there has been so much happening, and for people to be denied to return to their home for a year, and then realizing that 5 days before they are to leave and reunite with their families, they just start doing simulation exercises. And then 2 days before they leave, they say, we're not ready. Please, please, we are begging all of you leaders. We know that you care to protect all of us. Please also consider all the people that have sacrificed so much for their country with you.
I guess I would just want to ask on the flip side of it, right? Guys, on Guam, we see and we hear a lot from our government where they say that, oh, this is unprecedented. It's rapidly evolving. We have set finish lines or, metrics and said, oh, we're going to do this come this month. But then because the pandemic has boiled over or whatever, those plans go totally out the window. So what would you say to the government leaders who say that we do care about our children and this is how we've kept our children, our citizens in the FSM safe, is by closing these borders off? And as difficult as it is, it's what has kept the FSM COVID free. Because there's that side of it too, right? And so with this extension to May, we've seen, we were trying to open tourism in July of last year, and that they totally threw it out the window. So I can see how frustrating isn't even the right word, but that these so-called, end dates keep moving. And so, I mean, you're right. Right now they're saying May, but it could easily turn into June or July. But how do you kind of respond to that argument that these government leaders are responsible for keeping their people and their country safe, and that's exactly what they're doing in this situation?
A practical matter would be the Republic of the Marshall Islands is a sister country. They started their repatriation, and until now, there is no COVID cases. You know, these people will get vaccinated. They will go and live in quarantine if they have to for a month, like Yulene said. They will do whatever they can. And people who have, it is shown that isolation works, masking works. These people have taken the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine, not the Johnson & Johnson, because it is 95% proven to be safer and protected from others. Yes, there is understanding that that is the other side of the coin. But if someone is vaccinated and they go there and quarantine for 30 days, which is normally 14 days, then wouldn't that be enough screening and isolation to ensure that you are COVID-free? And maybe look at our Marshall Islands is doing it. They have listened to their people and they almost have same challenges as us. So it is tough. And I guess the next appeal is if you are going to continue the travel ban until beyond May, because everything is unforeseeable, then use the CARES funding to support these people financially, because they can't go anymore without money. Most of them are living in Guam and Hawaii and are also risking and jeopardizing their family members while staying with them from eviction. So those are the other things. If you cannot allow the border to open for them, then at least give them something to live on while you're trying to figure things out.
Wow, this is huge. I can't even, but thank you guys so much for your time. And this is something we're definitely going to be following up on, Bree.
Yes.
I want to just add that I have I don't know how many emails back and forth with the finance administration. And I was successful in getting some of them, their funding, after months of emailing them, copying other leaders, just so they can see that, these people really need their help. I had to go above and beyond just to kind of get our leaders' attention for this agency that's supposedly are authorized and tasked to send money, for our stranded. And then I also heard stories like, some of them would message me and say, Paulina, I didn't know this, but the family that we're staying with, they're leaving to mainland because they can't afford to stay here anymore. They're going to move to families in the mainland and see if they can start fresh there. And here we are. I'm going to have to find cousins or family members that can take us in. And they were asking for jobs. They're afraid at the time, that was like 6 months ago, they were afraid to go out and look for a job. There were no jobs. Those kind of struggles. Some of them were just so stressed out. They were having like domestic issues, in the household, because they just are just so stressed with a lot of issues that you deal with when you're living under stress with other family members that are trying to take care of you and their own families. And other extended family members. And there are those that, I mean, one of my aunts just got hospitalized and she went to the Philippines for her husband's health issue referral, medical referral. And yet she got hospitalized because she was so stressed. And Sunny's mom, who was always so upbeat, for months she wasn't that person that Sunny knew anymore because she was so withdrawn from a lot of things. They wanted them to go to Texas so that they can stay there and be safe. But the dad was thinking about their house in Pohnpei because nobody's living at the house. They were afraid it's going to rot, and they wanted to go back home. You know, they don't have anyone to depend on. All their adult children are out here in the mainland. So, you know, stories after stories. And there were my aunt and a friend, both of their husbands passed away while they were stranded. And a mom that her son passed away while she was fighting cancer in Guam, stranded. Do we want to wait until more of them go through hardships that none of us want to face? And to talk about, you know, what's safe. When you think about what just happened with Chief Milo, how did they end up going on the ship and test them? Where did they get that courage to go on board and test them? And they were positive, you know? Where's our courage? Where's our
Faith.
compassion? You know, at the time.
Compassion.
Yeah, at the time they were thinking, no, we need to figure this out. If this was a case that they heard that the ship was bringing, how did they overcome that fear and get on board to test them? You know, and yet they won't let our fully vaccinated citizens get on board and go home and be quarantined for a month. You know, they're even willing to get self-isolated after the quarantine. Imagine that. Imagine that. How much they're willing to sacrifice. And yet we have excuses after excuses. For the sake of who? Our people at home? You know, I thought the priority is for everyone. None of us are less important than, you know, our fellow citizens. Are we going to wait until some more than what we can handle happen? You know, are we going to wait until somebody actually passes away out here that have been stranded for so long? I don't think so. I don't think none of the leaders would be would want that to happen. So why not seize the moment and take our stranded home?
You know, I'd heard about, I mean, obviously we knew about this issue, but to really put people to it, to put faces and stories to it, it just breathes a whole different life. So I just want to thank you guys, and hopefully that, you know, this interview and our government, your government, seeing what this is doing to families, yeah, can maybe work together and come to some kind of solution. So again, I just want to thank you guys for coming on, and thank you so much for your time, and also for the tears that you shed during this interview, because I think that those tears, hopefully, I mean, would change something. Thank you, Shanti.
Chris, can I just add just something very shortly?
Yeah.
This is obviously a plea, right? It's a cry for help. You've seen our tears. You've heard just barely, my story. If they could just hear or just feel what the other people are going through. Like I said, it's a cry for help. We just want to be acknowledged. The president has never, not to my knowledge, he has never acknowledged his stranded people. At least a press release or any kind of form of acknowledgement that says, I know you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
I care about you, and I'm trying my best to bring you home. So that's why we feel abandoned. We are labeled stranded, but we feel abandoned by our nation. And this is our cry for help. We've been, Paulina, Shanti, even myself, daily, I try to communicate with both national and the state task force. And like I said earlier, Pohnpei State is ready to repatriate. It's our national government. For some reason, the president doesn't want us to fly on United, mostly because the crew, he wants the crew to be fully vaccinated, tested. I've talked to United regional manager. He's informed me that United, doesn't require, they encourage these things, but they don't require them, which is very understandable because it is a personal choice.
Yeah.
The vaccine is a personal choice. So he trusts United, though. There are flights that leave our nation. There's 2 United flights a month, I know for sure, that have been going to Pohnpei and taking people. Just this past Saturday, the flight was full. It was full of people leaving Pohnpei. I'm sure there were people that left Chuuk as well, but from Pohnpei, I know it was full. So he trusts United to put his people on their flights. Why can't he trust United to bring us home safe?
And
This is my plea. This is my plea
thank you,
for him
Yulene.
to allow us to go back on United.
And here's one thing to keep in mind. If you look at the protocol from CDC and WHO on how, across the entire world, how they're handling their repatriations. Their borders, like Guam is a border, right? If I'm not mistaken, they're at 0 COVID. I'm not sure where you're at right now, but if there's no threat, why are our borders still closed? Marshalls is our border, right? Guam is our border. The last time I checked on the 24th, Guam was at 0 for like a whole week. And I'm not sure where you guys are at right now. For that long, what were they waiting for? There were no threats at the time. It was 0 COVID. And so I'm hoping that, they can be prepared and ready to do the repatriation and not continue to make up all these excuses that, we're just fearful that these flight crews are not going to follow protocol. So thank you all. Thank you, Yulene. Thank you, Shanti. Sabrina, I haven't really heard you say much.
She's
So I
working
hope,
she's Paulina, she's working this story and just getting all the stuff together. So
Oh, I
that's
see.
what's happening. Yeah. Thank you guys. We got to run because it's the end of the show. But again, appreciate your time. Shanti, thank you. Filios, thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Thanks, everyone.
Yulene,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for having us.
Okay, we'll
Yes,
see you
thank
guys.
you for creating this platform.
Good luck and God
Be
bless.
safe.
We'll talk to you
God
guys
bless.
again soon.
Bye.
Wow. We got to take a break, guys. I'll come back and close out the show next. Good morning.